Hi, I'm Joey Bachrach, and I'm an alcoholic.
And I'm Siobhan Garcia, and I'm a normie.
And this is Totally Sober.
What were you saying about the...
Oh, it's blinking again, so we're
we're done. We're done, or are we ending?
And today we have a very special guest. Her name is Kaitlyn. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for meeting with us today. We would both love to learn more about who you are and your story with sobriety. And if I remember correctly, you just celebrated your 7th sober birthday.
Yes, I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I grew up in Spokane, Washington. I grew up in a very conservative Catholic family. My parents are so Catholic that even the Pope would say too much.
Mm-hmm.
I was adopted at 7. I'm not going to go into that.
Oh, wait, you're both adopted.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
But I was always in like a box. I kind of just conformed to whatever my family told me to be, and from a very young age I felt different. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but my family kind of saw that and they were steering me back into the box, and I just kind of went with it. And
you mean they could tell that you were different, kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I was so different that
like flamboyantly different?
Okay. At 7 years old, my mom decided to throw me an I'm a boy party.
Okay. Okay. Wow, that's pretty loud.
Loud.
They wanted to do.
Very traumatizing. I went through all of that with them, and my parents didn't drink. They weren't alcoholics. My dad would drink maybe once a week. My mom, every once in a while. It wasn't a big thing. But my drinking was controlled just because they didn't have it in the house, and they were very controlling of what I could do. But when I did get my hands on alcohol, it was very, how do you say, very obsessed, very obsessive.
What age was that when you started?
Probably like 10 or 11. And I never got drunk or tipsy. It wasn't like a thing for me, but I was always really obsessed and, like, again, different from my kids in school my age. And I was always thinking about it. And even before the alcohol, there was like other issues that came up for me, whether that was with my eating disorder or shopping. I love shopping. It was always anything to not feel my feelings. And it was even younger than that, like fantasizing. Because like I went through a lot of trauma growing up, and I didn't want to think about any of that. And so like if I could fantasize in someone else's world, I could be okay. And so kind of fast forward to me coming to treatment the second time, because I went to treatment, I think 2016 in the summer, and I just wasn't ready to like...
Were you in treatment in LA?
In Orange County.
Okay, Orange County.
And just wasn't willing or ready to like surrender, and I ended up in this rehab, and I left after 3 months. It was actually for my eating disorder. They did take us to AA meetings or 12-step meetings. They did take us to 12-step meetings, and I was just kind of sit in the back and just judge everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And so went back home, got really depressed again, ended up relapsing in my eating disorder, and then like started drinking too.
Back home in Washington?
Yes.
Okay.
after I left Orange County for the first time, and I got really depressed. Ditching school, I was actually in college. There's a program in Washington called Running Start, so you can take college classes at the community college while you're in high school, and so I was like fudging my way through that and just kind of messing around, and then got super depressed. And when I get depressed or like I like to isolate, and I ended up like binge watching a whole 5 seasons of Scandal in a week.
Well, I'm like that. I was like that with a show called Once Upon a Time, and for the longest time, I stopped watching. Like, I didn't want to watch the last episode because I didn't want it to end. I would watch all of the seasons, and I think there were like 8. So,
are you an Aries?
I'm a Libra.
A Libra.
Aries love to like lock themselves up, and I have a friend that likes to lock themselves up when they're not doing well. So, I'm just wondering.
But, and this is when TV shows were like hella long, like 26 episodes long.
Yeah, not just 10 or 12.
Yes.
Those are the days.
Yeah, we just got gypped on one. There's a new show that we've been watching. I don't know if it's new, but called Slow Horse, and there are only 6 episodes.
Oh.
So pissed.
Where is it on? I should watch.
It's on Apple. It's fantastic.
Oh, I love the morning show on the app.
Oh, me too. That's one of our favorites as well. Love the morning show. Jennifer Aniston is everything.
Reese Witherspoon is
I
everything.
know, they both are amazing.
She's doing so much in media. One of my idols and somebody I look up to a lot. But I got this voice in my head telling me that I should get help, or like you should call your clinical director, and I did. I ended up calling her. I was like, I need to come back to treatment because I was like so broken at that point. And I had my last drink on December 25th, 2016, so Christmas.
Yay!
And I remember it like it was yesterday, and I never want to go back. And I came back to Orange County, and as I was getting off the plane and getting into the car to go back to treatment, I just felt like a weight had been lifted off of my shoulders. And that I didn't have to do this anymore, and my journey began. And in the past 7 years, I've gone through a lot, good, bad, and I haven't had to take a drink over it. I haven't had to... And I made a lot of mistakes in sobriety, but like I've learned from them and had really good people around me telling me to snap out of it, and who read me down when I needed it.
Those are good people to have around.
Yeah.
A nice check once in a while. Always good to know that your support family and they got your back. I know you put me in check quite a few times.
Have I?
Yeah, politely though.
After you have to tell me after.
Yeah, I will. And then my amazing husband Andrew always holds me accountable. So thank you, honey. And then, so what was different this time around? I know that you said you didn't want to go back to where you were, but now you have 7 years.
I was willing to do whatever was needed to be done to get better, because I did not want to feel the way that I was feeling. And I got sober at 19, and so like I was naive, I was scared, and a lot of fear, and just didn't know how the world worked. And getting sober taught me a lot of responsibility. I had my sponsor tell me to get a job, and I was like, what's that? I don't want to be like everyone else. I just want to go to Sephora.
Well, did you get a get well job?
I did, and I still have it.
Okay.
I'm trying to get rid of her. She's...
Well, you said you had some goals, though, career-wise.
Yeah.
You want to get out of PR and eventually do your own law firm, you were saying?
I still want to stay in PR, but I want to kind of meld the two together and make it.
Yeah, she said she had a 10-year goal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's always amazing to have. I wish I had a 10-year goal.
But I'm still in college. I'm like a year away from graduating with my undergrad in communications.
Congratulations.
Yes. I think the one thing that's kept me here and kept me sober is having really strong support and people who are also have like-minded goals and who, like we just said earlier, can call you out, because like there were times that I was really like just too big for my britches, basically taking on too much.
So you would say that it's really important to have that surrounding
Yeah.
support system and friends who are proud of you being sober, getting there,
Yes.
and not like the bad influence friends that want you to go out and have a good time.
Yes. And as I've gotten sober and worked on myself, like I would say that my relationship with my family, because I heard in the beginning, like, as long as you stay sober, you'll get your family back. That was not the case for me. Like, I feel like my relationship with my family, as I started to kind of left my hometown and started thinking for myself and started having my own opinions on the world and becoming my own person, I feel like we've distanced from each other, and my relationship with them has like deteriorated.
Mm.
Like, I don't really talk to them anymore.
So I guess the question is, who is Kaitlyn?
Kaitlyn is a trans woman, and I came out a few years ago, and I would always open Pandora's box because I was always struggling with like my gender and sexuality, and I'd open Pandora's box and then close it again. Open it for like a week, look at it, admire it, and then or get too scared and then close it. And so I think one thing that was holding me back was like, what would my family think? Like, how would I be able to do this? And still have them in my life, but I had to really push that away and think about myself.
I think sometimes just being trans as well, you have to sometimes be selfish when it comes to obviously sobriety, and if you're transitioning, your transition should come first and not worry about everyone else's feelings about that. And I think the best you can do is hope that they'll just meet you out on the other side. And if not, you always have a chosen family.
Yeah.
And I hope that you have that here too.
I do.
That's good.
We had both discussed how you had to be just selfish in your transition, and how were you selfish when you first started transitioning?
I think like in terms of selfishness, I guess like at the time I was an androgynous model and doing like both male and female looks, and that was like kind of how I started my career. And then eventually I just started really not being comfortable in my skin as like a male model, and I was really just more drawn to like the female side of it. So it took me a couple of years, but I was like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna transition, and I just had to tell everyone like, this is how it's gonna be from now on. No more male modeling, just female modeling, and I just, that's how it kind of happened. And I guess that was a selfish way of just kind of, having to do what I had to do and hoping that everyone was on board with me, and they were. So.
And putting yourself first.
And putting myself first, yeah. So.
And before our interview today, you and I did speak briefly about Sober Curious. So I am curious to know what your views on Sober Curious is.
And tell me what that means.
Yeah, this normie doesn't know.
I mean, I don't even really know what it is. I've just seen it floating around the gram and TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And people are just kind of dabbling with getting sober, trying it for a month or a few weeks and seeing how it works. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but just kind of curious and kind of controlling.
Like, just like tipping their toes in the water.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for me, I know that wouldn't work. I'd be a hot mess if I did sober curious. I have to be completely sober, and I just don't think it works.
I think it's the same kind of way as the California sober. It's kind of the same thing. You're still dabbling in substances.
But or on the other side, it could also be looked at from somebody's point of view. If they are thinking about getting sober, or if they have to ask themselves, maybe I am doing too much. What would my life look like if I was completely sober? So at least they're attempting. So it's like two separate extremes, maybe, but at least somebody's willing to do it. So I think there's a good way to view it and a not so positive way to view it, depending on the individual. But if somebody's going to use it as an excuse to just drink or use less, then that's where it gets a little murky.
And
yeah,
I like that you were saying there's a good way to look at it. I mean, somebody who's sober curious, it might bring them to their surrender and help them to change their life because of their drinking and using.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about getting sober, it's not a bad place to start, but just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons.
For the right person, which is you.
Exactly. Never get sober for somebody else other than yourself. It doesn't work that way.
Well, thank you so much for coming
yes,
on.
thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you. And on that note, we will wrap up and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Oh, I forgot that. What sound?
Ding.
Yes. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
That was really good. That was really good. That has never happened in the history of doing this before.
Well, I'm glad I was the first.